Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of season 7. Wow, season 7. 7 fucking seasons. Let's go. 7 seasons of the Ponytails podcast. Thank you so much for listening and supporting. As always, we'll just start with a quick introduction of what we do and who we are. If this is the first time you've listened, welcome. Welcome to the show. My name is Andres Gamboa. I am a four-time bookman, which means I sold for 4 summers with Southwestern Advantage. Southwestern Advantage is a company that recruits college kids to sell books door to door for 80 hours a week through their college summers. It's bananas, no commission, sometimes not even a place to live even is set up yet. And they've been doing this since like the Civil War, literally. And so I think it's been 160, 150 years since they started this. And there's 100,000 living people who have done this. And what we do is we interview them here on the show and they tell us their stories about what they experienced during their time throughout the summer. So some people we've only had on here that they've only sold 1 summer. Sometimes they've sold 12 summers and everything in between. So as you can imagine, as you go door to door, you're going to see some crazy, crazy stories as you navigate through this episode. I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys liked it, if you think it's fun, if you want more of this content, go check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you guys check us out there. Subscribe, like, leave us a review. That's a huge help. We don't really ask for much, but that'd be a good way for you to support if that's what you are so inclined to do. If not, don't worry about it. If you don't like it, don't tell anybody. But if you love it, let everyone know. A couple things. Our newsletter is out. We've only had 1 issue so far. More issues to come. We're going to release it. At this point, if you are listening to this now, you should have actually got the 2nd issue, which was released with Robin Mukherjee. If you want more information on how to get on that, go to our website, theponytailspodcast.com. And our newsletter is called The Cult. Everything here at the Ponytails Podcast is horse themed. And so our newsletter is called The Cult. If you sold books, that's extra funny to you. So again, make sure you go to www.theponytailspodcast.com to get signed up for our newsletter. You can also check out our merch and all that stuff that's in there for sure. Keep an eye out too. Our beer is still on the works. We've been promising this for over a year. It's a lot more complicated than you think, but we're still making strides every day to try to get it to you guys and have a beer that you guys can listen to while you watch the show. Unless you're driving and listening, then don't drink our beer. That's not what we do. On that note, let me tell you guys a little bit about our guest today. I'm super excited to actually know Mitch Johnson. I've known Mitch since before I even sold books. So this is one of those where it's not often, but I do have people on here that are friends of mine from even before who I ended up meeting through school or through life. Mitch I met in high school, and then we actually ended up selling books together, and we overlapped for a couple summers as well. But Mitch sold for 4 summers from 2015 to 2018. He's part of the Force organization. Went to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. Originally from my hometown, actually, too, from Grand Island, the island, which he would tell you. And the best way to reach him is at Mitch Scott Johnson. So after listening to this episode, if you're like, I need to get a hold of Mitch, either to catch up or to get some more information about where he's working or what he's up to, you go to his Instagram at Mitch Scott Johnson, and you can find him there, message him, shoot him a DM. He'll be happy to talk to you. His favorite scroll from the Ogmandino Greatest Salesman in the World book is scroll number 7. One of my personal favorites, I Will Laugh at the World, which honestly, what a time. So in a few seconds, 10 seconds, we'll be back with Mitch Johnson. Homie, what is up?
What is up? It is good to be here. How are you, dude?
Oh, how long has it been, my guy? It's been a minute.
Oh, it's
It's
been
been
a
a
while.
couple minutes, at
It's
least
been a
2018.
yeah. I mean, around then, yeah. You got the hum. I got some coffee. And we're gonna have a good time. That's the
Cheers
plan.
to you, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Put
Clink.
coffee over my MacBook.
That's right.
Let's yeah. Starting dangerous. Let's do it.
Bro, have you had kombucha before?
Yeah, GT's Sacred Life, the blue one. Big fan of that one. Besides that, I wouldn't call myself a connoisseur of the stuff. But yeah, tell me
Big
what
time.
you. Yeah.
Well, I fucking hate it. Until I had to drink
Okay.
cum. No, like seriously, this doesn't like just because they provide our beverages here on the show. That
Hmm.
like I would have said no if I couldn't drink it. We're pretty transparent here on the show.
Yeah.
And we interviewed Michelle Mitchell, who's a bookwoman, and she went door to door selling her kombucha. And I was super nervous because I'm like, it's probably polite to drink the kombucha while she's on with me on the air, but I hated kombucha. Everything I tried to that point tasted like that, like after you kind of throw up in your mouth, but then you swallow it back up without it actually
Yeah.
projectiling out
Yeah.
of your
It's very
face.
acidic. Yeah. It's very.
It
Yeah.
it, it tasted like that.
Uh-huh.
And and then I was like, oh, what if I like have to like try to pretend I like it on the air, dude? I
You're
took a
just
sip.
taking a drink.
Yeah, I took a sip. Yeah, it's like,
Mmm, so
"Mm,
good.
how did you create this company?" No, dude, I was so pleasantly surprised. It was so good. So yeah, they sponsor us, and I love that we get to do this. Actually, super healthy for you. So if you want to like
Mm.
dip your toe into kombucha and you don't want to get that vomit feel, try Home out. They're at like every Target and Costco. Check it out. Support a book woman. She's
And
killing it.
that is interesting because yeah, kombucha is like chock full of probiotics and it is fantastic for your gut health. And given what I'm doing nowadays at First Form, a supplement company, I just took a huge test on gut health, digestion, and nutrition, and kombucha was definitely featured on that test. So that's a fun thing,
Hell yeah, man. So let's jump into that. What the hell are you up to? So for people who
dude.
don't know, just for people, like I don't do any research on our guests. I have no idea what you're about to say, and
Mm.
that's by design because I want this to be an organic connection. So just so you know, like people might be listening, going, "Oh, I thought you guys were friends. You don't know?" Like, no, I really don't know. So let's jump in. What the hell are you up to now, Mitchell Johnson?
Yeah, yeah. So it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride since leaving, departing Southwestern in 2018. And that's a whole story in and of itself. Is like the around the time that I left Southwestern and how that came about. Um, but right now, I'm working at First Form. So First Form is a supplement company based out of St. Louis, Missouri. Um, the CEO, which is actually, and how I got to First Form is a pretty interesting story. I listened to another podcast for years called the MF CEO. That's by Andy Frisella, who is the CEO of First Form. Um, and the MF CEO project stands for motherfucking CEO. So let's get the first motherfucking out of the way on
Yeah,
the podcast. Okay,
we
this
should
is
do it. We should
explicit
do a
for a
motherfucker.
reason.
We should do
Yeah,
a fuck counter. Fuck
yeah,
one.
dude. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. God, we'd run that thing up. But yeah. So I listened to that podcast, and it's just one of the best personal development podcasts I've ever listened to in my entire life. It's so real. It's so good. It's like very much the way I like to be coached, just like super direct, like you're being a bitch, stop being a bitch, like that kind of stuff. And I love that. I
I
love that
remember.
about Andy. Just the direct. Yeah, he's like, no, I remember. That's how our PCs went. Like, Mitch, you're being a bitch. I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Like, go knock door. Go knock door, cell book. Okay.
I go door now.
I go door now. Okay. Go to the next door. Got it. All right. Turn off my phone. Yeah. So I started listening to that. I loved it for years. When God, we're gonna flash through a bunch of chapters here. Let's see. Uh, Worked at a different door-to-door company for a while. Um, the pandemic hit, and well, no, let's see. Let's go back. There was a time where I said for a couple years because I actually knocked doors through the pandemic for Vivint Smart Home, and that was like
Oh, that's right.
the
That's right. I remember
roughest
those.
year of my life. Dude, people were pissed. People were so mad. Like a mad. Oh, it was so bad. Um, but it there's a lot of hardship that year, and it was like, and I anyway, I sold another year after that with Vivint in 2021, and I said if they do vaccine mandate, if they do testing mandates, that I'm gonna leave, and they did, and I was like, okay, I'm out.
Sorry about
So,
it.
yep. So stuck to my guns on that one. Went to Grand Island, worked on the family farm because I was just like, dude, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. There was offers to do solar in California, and I was like, man, I don't
Mhm.
think I want to go to California, just political reasons. I was like, I don't think I love the state, literally the most beautiful state, maybe besides like Montana in the continental United States. But I just because California has every ecosystem, so I love it. But the politics I just so don't vibe with. So I was just like, no, we're not going to do it.
Fair enough.
And and then like the podcast, there's a new podcast from Andy, and I've been listening to it for a while called Real AF, and I've been listening to all these episodes, and I kept having that like intuitive hit. If anyone's read The Alchemist, they know what I'm talking about. Where you just have omens, right? You have signs that pop up, and they keep popping up. Um, and I was like, I should apply to First Form, and I did, and I didn't hear anything back at all, like at all. And another 4 months passed by, and I'm like, I'm in Grand Island. I'm living in Grand Island. I'm working on the family farm. I'm like, dude, I don't know what's gonna happen next. Like, I was thinking about getting my real estate license, um, and I applied again. And this time I heard back like pretty quick, and did a first interview over Zoom. They invited me down to St. Louis. I drove, just to show like, just to see what
That you're
how
serious.
yeah, so, yeah, that I was serious, and that um yeah, that I wanted it, but also I just wanted to see the company, because it's like I've heard so much from the podcast about about First Form and about Andy, and I wanted to put eyes on it. And I got there, and yeah, I just felt like the right decision. So went through the interview process. It was first interview, second interview was the one in person, and the third one was like a group workout, and I almost fainted. Like it was like a bro. It was it was so hard. It was like a CrossFit workout. And they almost killed me on that back turf. In the at First Form HQ, there's like a 50-yard turf, and there's like 20 of us, and it was like a tryout. Like they called it like a a third interview, but it was like they wanted to see what you're made of, right? So I like redlined the entire thing, and
It's a
by the end,
combine.
yeah, and by the end, we had sleds, and it was a you go I go workout. Which CrossFitters, if there's any CrossFitters here, they know what that is. It's like you have a partner, and they do the thing, and then you turn around and do the thing, and then when you're done, they start, and it's so
Brutal.
there's like yeah, it's brutal. So we did that, and while we're like breaking it down, I'm about to pass out, and I'm like, they're like, all right, whatever we cheered at the time, and I could just feel myself tunneling, and I'm like, I'm gonna pass out. I got through the workout, but I'm literally gonna pass out right now. And we broke it down, and I like went to the wall, and I was just like,
Hello, ponies. I just want to let you know that Will didn't invite me to his wedding. Well, Metscher didn't invite me to his wedding. He says, "Ooh, Andres is one of my best friends." Yeah, thanks, Will. But he is inviting you to learn more about how to help people get out of their own way. If you want to go work with Will, which I wish I was invited sometimes. Anyway, back to work.
and I just like caught my breath for a second, but no, yeah, it went well. They called me on my way when I was driving back to Nebraska in the truck, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna take the weekend, we're gonna consider all the candidates or whatever. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I was just looking forward to hearing from them next week, and they called me 2 hours later, and they're like, we like what we saw, and they offered me the
Hell
job.
yeah.
And I yeah, and so I just had my 4 month anniversary today, so like we're still like very much in like
Oh,
the
so you
beginning.
just started.
Yep.
Wow.
So June 6th. So and it's October 6th today. So we super early in the beginning of my First Form career. But so far it's I maybe besides selling door to door. And I do tell people this at First Form, and they don't fucking believe me. I'm like, selling door to door is the best thing I've ever done. Period. Like
It's
college,
pretty.
like yeah, and like it was 100. I needed it, which is like a whole story. That's probably going to be like the emotional part of this podcast. Is like what door to door did for me, in terms of
Oh
like
yeah.
maturing me. Um, but
And I can attest to that. We'll get to that, but I can attest to that because I knew you before, during, and now,
yeah,
right? And so I've watched you develop, and I remember our phone call. I feel like that was a big moment in you and I's friendship, where like that. We'll get to that. You know that Sunday PC when you called me.
yo,
I remember that.
yeah, yeah, that was big. That yeah, yeah,
I remember that. That,
that was
that I felt really connected that day with you. So
yeah,
yeah, we'll get to that.
that was a big one. Let's see, where was I at, Andres?
So you're 4 months, and then your people, you're telling
Yeah,
people that this
four
is
months.
the best thing you did.
I keep telling them, and they and it's kind of it's interesting. It's like you get the vibe that some people just think they're like, oh, that's fucking weird, like But the people that get it, right? Like I remember telling one guy at First Form, I was like, yeah, I sold door to door for 7 years, and his first thing that he said to me is like, you're a fucking machine. Like
Yeah.
so he's like, so you're a fucking machine, and I just smiled, right? Um, and people either get it or they don't, you know.
Yeah.
But so like I said, selling door to door was the best decision I've made for myself in terms of my growth. The second one, it seems like is choosing First Form.
Mm.
Like it's shaping up to be really to have been a really good decision for me, and like my interests and my loves, and like what I want to do and why I feel like I'm on Earth, which is like um, yeah, it just to grow into the best possible version of myself, and by doing that, um, help inspire other people to do the same. And I think a huge portion of that is that if anyone understands Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the first one is physiological. It's like taking care of your physical body, you know. And
Right.
if you take care of that, you unlock all these other things that you can take that are better. Like there's nothing, if your health is like on point, or if you're making strides towards becoming a healthier, happier, more well version of yourself, everything is better in life. Everything. You know, there's nothing
Fair.
that it doesn't touch, right? Your relationships,
Yeah.
finances, just overall energy, you know.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Longevity. Yeah, yeah. Everything. The
all,
way you
all
approach things change
yeah, all
as
the
well.
things. Yeah. Um,
That's so cool, dude. So what does your day to day look like at work? Like when you, is it remote? Like what is it? How are you? Where are you at right now? Are you in St. Louis? Like walk me through like the
mhm.
specifics of what your job and your career look like today.
Yeah. So, right, I'm really, I'm hoping that within the next month, I'm getting a promotion into what would be more like the sales department, more like kind of like a consulting role, and I'll get into that in a second. It's interesting. At first form, everyone starts entry level, so it's a meritocracy, and we're used to that, right?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. And so actually coming from Vivint into first form, I took like a pay cut, and I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to swallow my pride on this. But I was like, okay, but like, if you think it's the life, if you think it's the culture that you want to be a part of, like, are you serious about it or not? And so I did. Um, and so
Mm.
everyone starts at an entry level position, and for me, that was like that's in the warehouse. Like I started in the warehouse, and that's a pride point at first form too.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so packing boxes, dude, like
Yeah.
packing
That's great.
boxes, and it's um, the progression at first form. It's like very much um, there. It's really interesting, and in fact, I wish like a lot of other cultures did this too. In fact, um, this wouldn't be a bad idea for like a lot of Southwestern organizations for like people that are listening. But in order to progress, there's like a certain amount of things that you need to do. So um, there's 7 books, and you need to do a book report on them. And I can talk about 4 of them. I can't talk about 3 of them, but it's like Linchpin, Extreme Ownership, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Heard of
Yeah, right. And
it.
the fourth one's escaping me, and I don't want to give away the 3 books I can't talk about. But those 7 books are like the pillar. Like all those are pillars of like the culture at first form. So they make you study that so you understand a good idea on what the culture is, because culture is so
Yeah.
important at first form. And it's all based off of customer service, which is like incredible. Um, and if something is wrong, making it right with the customer, which I love. And that's actually the department that I'm in today, which is solutions, which my job right now, because I went from warehouse and then I went to the printing team, which was more like logistics. So like in charge of printing thousands of orders and then making sure that they get and they, it's like correct box sizes and things like that. So quick
Off schedule time. Are you the listener of the house? Listen, doing sit ups and push ups isn't enough. Go to your kitchen, throw out your fucking sugar, and call Seth at Elevate Wellness. Your brain, your heart, your body are going to thank you later. Go check out the link below.
moved off of the line and then into a printing role, which is getting people ready for or getting the orders out the door. And now I'm in the solutions team, which is like a small team, and it's our job. Something's fucked up, we fix it, we make it right, no matter what.
You are the solution. Figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right? I like it too, and it's interesting because the last 2 roles that I've been in, and it's like I've moved up those roles pretty quickly. Just and I swear, if like there's beginning book people listening, it's because of books, right? It's because it is.
It happens that I hear that a lot.
Yeah,
Even people who don't have the best experience afterwards, they still go, still I learned a shit ton from it. And they help
yeah,
me so much.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say at first where I'm like, I'm I'm currently I've shown up as like a fast mover through the ranks, and the reason why is because of the skills that I learned in books. It's just like, you know, tenacious work ethic, um, and more than anything, it's just like how to establish rapport with people quickly and easily, you know. And then if I have a problem, being able to communicate, like problem solve. Yeah, just being able to problem solve on the fly, taking initiative. Um, all those things that we learn when you're running your own business in Pennsylvania or Rhode Island or Arkansas or New York, which would be the states that I worked in. All those things that you learn while you're running your own business, doing those things, it's directly applicable. And I'm the last person. Like if you would have asked me 5 years ago, am I going to be working in a corporate role? I would have said hell no. And I said this in my interview at first one. I was like, this is the only corporate job I've ever considered, period. And it's probably the only one I ever would, you know. Um,
Yeah.
it's like those skill sets directly apply um, to working in a company or starting your own, you know, entrepreneur or being an entrepreneur. Um,
Yeah.
I forgot where I was going with that, to be honest.
No, it's all good. Yeah, it's our conversation. People are just flies on the wall. It's no worries.
Mhm.
I think it's cool that you're finding something that you can relate to and feel at home with. But then also still use it's almost like a baton passing, right? Where you're feeling like the experience in your past is leading you to this place. The person that you were someday going to be, you were becoming, and then here you are, and you became it, and you're still, on that train. But 5 years ago, Mitch was becoming this Mitch,
Yeah.
and it's working out really, really fucking well. It sounds like for you. So that's,
Yeah,
dude.
we're on our way. We're like nowhere where and I'm gonna be honest, I think my final evolution is like full blown entrepreneur. Like
Yeah,
having my own thing and running my own thing. Um, but for now, I felt called to first form, and it's really cool. It's 400 people in the company, but for now, it really feels like a startup on the inside. Like if you have an idea, like you can pitch it, and you can run with it, and you can start a department. Um, an example is like offensive customer service. There's a guy that was like, well, what if we went out of our way to make sure that people are happy? And that he started his own department, and now he's he has a great salary,
that's
and he
sweet.
has a full team. And it's like it's very much a culture of, if you have a good idea and you think you're the one that you can lead it, do it. Build the
Hell yeah.
thing. So um, I I like it better than I thought I was going to, for sure.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I worked for a company called Self Publishing School for a little bit, and it was exactly what I needed. It ended up not working out like long term because I still had that entrepreneur itch, and here we are doing this now.
Hmm.
But the things I learned in those 3 months were, I would say, are equivalent to what I learned throughout my 4 summers in Southwestern in just those 3 months that I was working there, because there was other aspects that I didn't get to learn in Southwestern that I did learn here that helped me on that I'm now taking from that and from my Southwestern experience to apply to this podcast. And it's just been super helpful to be able to have that structure to pull from, and then also, my own ideas and the ideas of some of the people on our team. It's just really like kind of bring it all together. But I understand what you mean, where it's like there was a corporate role, it was a salary, right? And
Mm.
even though it didn't end up being the final pit stop for me, like the final evolution, as you called it, it still was super impactful. And so it's not. What's up, everybody? We're getting off schedule for a quick second to spotlight a jockey of ours. Cardinal Seated Benefits helps families who have old people in their life and they're going to die. So they help them with final expense insurance, and it's pretty badass. So uh, back to work. I was like, this is now. I'm not saying that yours is going to be 3 months because obviously you're past that, but for however long this chapter of your life needs to be, I feel like you're learning and growing and being stretched in a way that's really helpful for you to become whatever the Mitch Johnson needs to be, next time I see you in 5 years or
Yeah,
10 years.
yeah, and coming from a place of like, there's no way for me to say it without saying it. I think it was super important for me for where I'm going, to learn how to be a good employee. And because I think if I even look through Southwestern, I think through like Vivint, um, I wouldn't characterize myself as like a shining employee, right?
Like the
Like
Sammy Southwestern.
yeah, always kind of had the rebel streak in me, right?
Hmm.
And I've been learning that at first form, on like how to be just a stellar employee that takes initiative and does what he needs to do. Not only just does what he needs to do, but like does the things that benefits the people around him, like rising tides lift all boats kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
like an analogy that I like to think of a lot, and this is kind of dorky, but and I've talked about this on yeah, that's a different story. But the analogy I like to think of is like, do you remember the Avengers when Tony Stark is like walking down the staircase and he's talking to Loki?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this super dorky analogy, but we're gonna throw it
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there.
I feel you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Um,
That's what I'm
and Loki's like, "Oh, you're never gonna win."
spoiler.
Yeah, yeah, this is a spoiler. You're never gonna win. I have an army. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Iron Man looks at him and says, "We have a Hulk." Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a
Yeah.
super cold sentence, but I think about that a lot because it's like, um, we can all be that Hulk. We can all be that person that gives confidence to the people that are around us. You know,
Yep.
like but if we bring our unique gifts to the table, to the extent that is required, we can be the person that gives confidence to everyone else around us. And I think about that a lot
Yeah.
nowadays, especially at first form. So that's why dorky brain doing its thing and trying to conceptualize like, okay, how am I trying to show up? Trying to show up like the Hulk,
Yeah.
trying to be the person that lifts everyone else around me, makes them better.
That's the key though, and that's the key to most things in life is just how it doesn't, even if it's dorky to other people, like if that's how you need to picture it to be able to understand and execute, then fucking do it. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, bro.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, cheers to you, sir, to that endeavor.
Dink.
And more
Dink.
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Oh, is that our second fuck?
We have a fuck
Yeah.
counter. That's great. Make it 3.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
There you go. Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
So no, that's great. That's cheers to you. I wanted to ask you because I think the last time I had really like creeped on, you kind of creep on people every once in a while. You're like, all right, what is he up to now? I had seen that you were crushing it on TikTok.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So
Is
that's what I
that
that's what I
still
said. That's a
happening? What's
different
going on with
that
that?
moment where I said like, oh yeah, that's a different thing. Different. That's what I was talking about. Is I've talked about
Okay.
that exact concept, the Hulk analogy, on TikTok. And it's like while that in between phase, like when I got the notice that we're gonna do vaccine mandates at VDisain, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And I moved back, started working on the family farm. I was like, okay, what's next? And I was like, dude, I have wanted to make content for a long ass time and just get good at it, you know. And so I set out on this mission to start a TikTok channel, and it was all about self development. And I just wanted to see, um, I wanted to practice consistency with adding value online,
Yeah.
and learn more about marketing, learn more about brand deals, and just the entire creator economy. And what I
Yeah.
did is I ended up making a TikTok channel called F Potential, and which obviously stands for fuck potential. And that actually is a shout out to Shane Hertig, who was my student manager, and I remember this specifically. Um, he was a good enough coach where he realized like the way that I'm motivated is like regret. And I remember specifically my first summer in Arkansas, Jonesboro, Arkansas. We were at breakfast, and he like took an index card, put tape on it, wrote a word, fucking slapped it on my steering wheel, and I had a great week after that. And what he wrote was fuck potential. And I remember that. And I was like, every time I'd like be driving and I'd look down and be like, yeah, fuck potential, like fuck potential, actualize, like become your best self. Um, and the reason why he knew that was a hot button for me is because that was thrown in my face all through growing up. It's like, oh, Mitch is a bright kid. He jokes around too much. He's a class clown. He has so much potential.
Oh,
He dagger
oh,
to the heart, right?
oh.
And
When people tell you have a lot of potential.
oh, it hurts. It hurts. And so that was a project that I started, and I was super consistent with it. I don't even know how many uploads I did. I like 500 maybe.
No way.
But
Wow.
I grew the page
This is like every day. Every day you're doing
every
this,
fucking
or
day. Yeah, I was working on the family farm, figuring out what's next. And yeah, I was doing like 2-3 uploads a day. Just like I'd have an idea off the rip, like the Hulk analogy or something I learned in Southwestern. I did 100-part series on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which was a big one. That was like the thing I grew the channel the most. But I grew that page to 20,000 followers. And
no way,
yeah,
bro.
dude, that was um and it was cool.
Wow.
It gave me a lot of confidence that the things that because a lot of it was stuff that we didn't learn in Southwestern, or um it was really cathartic in a way. And I don't know, I think that's the word I was looking for. Therapeutic, maybe. Not
Yeah.
cathartic, I don't know. It
They're
was
both interchangeable from what I understand, but it is my second language, so I don't know.
it it helped me synthesize the things I learned since I was 19, because it's like, and that's a whole story in of itself, and I would love to go into that, how I actually got into door to door in the first place.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll get
Mm,
into that.
mm,
That's a good.
God, that's my
That's
favorite.
when
That's my
that's when the
favorite
episode will
story.
go from good to great.
Yeah,
Like
that's my.
it's
I love telling people that one because they're like, "How'd you get wrapped up into that?" I'm like, "How much time you got?"
yeah.
But it helped me synthesize the stuff I learned over the last 7 years since I started like a personal development journey. I know the exact moment my personal development journey started, and it's when I look back on that. That's kind of the moment that this Mitch was born, because like there was a version of Mitch like high school, middle school,
Oh
that
yeah.
he had to die, and he did that night, and that was.
He's no
And
longer with us.
he's no longer with us, and I killed that guy, and like in the last 7 years I've just it's true.
There's the soundbite. We're just gonna have that be part of the trailer for season
Dude,
7. Is
that's
I killed
personal
that guy.
growth.
What?
That's personal
What?
growth, man. It's like parts of yourself dying, you replace it with something new, a new creation that
Yeah.
you decide. That's what it is.
Yes,
And
sir.
if you don't look back on past versions of yourself and kind of cringe, like you ain't doing it.
Yeah.
That's not it, right? At
100%.
least that's how
100%.
I feel about it. So like I was saying, like making those videos about the stuff I learned over this last 7 years and seeing it received well publicly, I was like, not only has this stuff been helpful for me, but it's been helpful for others, and it's real. It's like I actually learned skills and ideas that add value, um, and it was just a really good experience, sharing that part of myself with people and having it be received well. And it gave me a lot of confidence too in terms of just going forward, because I would like to start to grow my Instagram now, because I think I've shied away from that, because it's like that's people from high school, that's people from college, that's people that follow me in books, and it's like um, it's a little different. It's TikTok is interesting, because you share it and it goes out to a bunch of people you don't know, right?
Right.
But it's different when you share something that's helped out, and you have all these people that have um,
Who
they have
didn't
an
go to your funeral?
yeah, 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 yeah,
To the dead Mitch's funeral. They
yeah.
don't know
They
he died.
they 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 know a past version, right? And
Yeah, they exactly. They don't know he died, so they didn't go to your funeral, so they still think that you're that old Mitch
yes,
that
so
is still being Mitch,
yeah,
or what that Mitch that they think.
yeah, so TikTok
Yeah.
gave me a lot of confidence just to like get myself on camera and like share myself. And I think that's super important. Like the creator economy, for those that haven't looked into it, it's super important to build a brand. That's just a belief that I've had. I think I've always had that. I just didn't have the confidence or the courage to actually chase that in a big way. And I'm very much looking forward to right now doing that on Instagram, and doing my best to add value on that platform, because I
Dude,
haven't really done anything on TikTok since
quite
I
I
moved
was
to
gonna
St.
ask
Louis.
you. Let me ask you this.
Hmm.
So when's the last time you taught do you do because it sounds like you stopped doing that.
Hmm.
So then what did that do to your TikTok account? And then second thing is what's the biggest difference? Why is TikTok better than Instagram? I know it is, but we like,
Yeah.
and I'm asking even this from a personal standpoint, because we started a TikTok for the Ponytails podcast, but we never really like let it take off. We never really pursued it or stayed consistent with it. And I think we should, but like, why is it better? Talk to me about, sell me on this idea, and then we'll get into Southwestern stuff.
Okay. So TikTok. To answer your first question, which is like, what has it done? My numbers
Yeah,
actually, my numbers haven't changed, which is good.
that's interesting.
But and that's like surface level. So, behind the level, or behind the scenes, um, I like to think of it like a rubber band. This is how I think of the algorithm on TikTok. It's like there's like stored potential energy, right? And so it's like
Right.
and I guess this is just like any area of life, momentum, right? Like when you're hot, you stay hot on the book field, right? Or
Right.
you want to at least. Because I stopped uploading, because I came to St. Louis and I just like stopped uploading. Um, and life got in the way and I just didn't make it a priority anymore. All the momentum in my account, I imagine, is like gone. So if I wanted to start growing my TikTok again, the F potential TikTok, which is a possibility for me to restart this, um, I imagine I'd have to go back to uploading super consistently again, because I don't have that stored momentum in my account. That's how I think the algorithm works. Is like get hot, stay hot. They're like, oh, this account is doing well now. Let's push it out to more people. Whereas right now my account is like super cold. So it's like that it's like a suicide call. Just got
Right.
total, yeah, come back later. And then
Oh, we don't
yeah,
have
just
that as
no
a thing
momentum.
yet.
What?
We don't people that we don't have it to put on the screen. That's actually we haven't talked about what suicide calls
Damn.
are. So a suicide call is when you
New term
drop the
unlocked.
price. Yeah, yeah, new term unlocked. It's basically a suicide call is when you're sitting with a family and you drop the price and they tell you, "Oh, you should come back." Or you drop the price to the dad or the mom because you talked to just one of the parents and they're like, "Oh, let me talk to my husband about it. Just come back at 8 or I'll talk to my wife and you can come back and sit down with her and show her and she'll buy it for sure." And you're like, "You think so?" You think she's like, "Oh yeah, she's all about education. She's gonna," and you're like, "Okay." And it's like noon. And then you come back at like 8 and you knock on the door, dad comes or whatever spouse that you talk to already comes to the door and they're like, "Hey, Mitch."
hey,
um
hey, we talked about it.
and we
We're
just
just
don't
not
think
gonna
it's
do
the right
it.
time.
Yeah,
But thanks for coming by. You're
we
doing a
prayed
great
about it.
thing. Yeah, we prayed about it. Whatever the fuck.
Yeah, whatever. Dude, my favorite. I
And
love bringing that. Have you had Chris Q? Did he give the prayer story? That's my favorite.
yes, I think
Yeah,
so.
bro.
I think
It's like we need
so.
to pray about it. All right. He said yes. What do you tell you?
Just
So
drops his
good, dude.
hands.
So good. So good. Chris,
It's
shout out
so
to
good.
you, man. I can't get that out of my head. It's
He
the
just drops his head. Okay,
best close I've
picks it
ever
up.
heard of
He
in my
said
life.
yes.
What do you tell you?
Oh, what a good time,
The
man.
fact
Okay,
the
so sorry. Back to. Oh shit.
God bless the
Sorry.
Qs.
So, what a good, what a pairing. What a
A great
pairing.
family.
What a pair of siblings. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So TikTok versus Instagram. So why do you think Instagram? I feel like TikTok. If you're already hot on
Uh,
Instagram, it's like, why Instagram? Is Instagram
so
still hot? Is it still the thing?
Instagram, because they released Reels. There's that. So I think Instagram was dead for a
Yeah.
long time because it just didn't matter what you posted. The ability to grow on Instagram just wasn't there. But Reels has kind of unlocked that again. So with Reels, like you are exposed to like new accounts, and new accounts can see your content. Whereas a post, that's just like not the case. So
Hmm.
Instagram Reels is where it's at. I think it's in conjunction. It's like TikTok did it, Instagram copied it. A lot of people are already native to Instagram, so I'm just focused on growing my Instagram. Um, yeah, because I don't know. It's just like it scares me. I like doing the things that scare me, right? You know?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh,
Go
thanks for the
Doodle, baby.
shout out. Got Mitch Scott Johnson. Yeah, give
Right
me a
there.
follow. A lot of it's self development, good, just like messages. It's a lot of stuff I filmed on TikTok, sharing it on my stories, and a lot of fitness recently, which is like getting into 75 hard. I would love to plug 75 hard because that changed my life
Good.
forever.
Good. Do it. Let's hear
Okay,
it.
cool. 75 Hearts. That's a program from Andy Frisell, is the CEO of the company that I work at. There's definitely listeners that have done 75 Hard here or at least heard about it. Um,
Um, I'm gonna pause you right there.
yeah.
Today, I did a interview. I was interviewed today on a different podcast. Stacey Lauren, who has a podcast called "Do the Thing," go check it out. And
Mm.
then she's gonna be on our show. She's actually our next guest, and she told me she was doing the 75 hard right now. Like she's currently on it.
Yes.
So it's funny
It,
that you said that because
dude,
that's the
that's
second time
solid.
today that that's brought up. Also, uh, she because it's like no alcohol, right, or
Yeah.
whatever. Her episode, I was like, "Are we gonna drink on the show?" She's like, "Dang, I'm doing the 75 hard right now." So maybe we might reschedule her to do it on the day she's done, so we
Oh
can
yeah.
drink and
God,
have and celebrate it,
that'd be
and
a
so
great
it'd be way more
celebration.
fun.
Yeah, way
Yeah.
more fun.
So
Yeah.
so anyway,
Yeah.
but it's just funny that today the universe has talked to me about this twice now. So interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how that all works out too. Yeah, just huge believer in nothing is coincidental. But
Coincidence is God's way of saying anonymous.
yep, 100%. And the older I get, the more I just believe that yeah, everything lines up. Um, 75 hard was it's probably one of the best things I've done for myself in my adult life. Um, the reason why is like I'd say in books, probably the thing that like killed me in terms of just being like a top producer, because my best summer was like 2,500 units. Like I never killed it, you know. But I probably say the biggest thing was consistency. It's just like being a consistent person. And a 75 hard is something that helped me unlock that within myself finally, and it was great. And the reason why is because it's a program designed. It's not a mental. It's not a fitness challenge. It's not a diet. It's like an Ironman for your brain. Just a I say do this and we're doing it. Period. I just hit my mic. Sorry. But the rules are real simple. 75 days straight, no compromises. Um, Follow a diet, stick to it. 75 days, no cheat meals, no alcohol. Take a progress photo every day. Uh, Drink a gallon of water a day. 2 workouts, at least 3 hours apart. Um, One of them has to be outside. They're both 45 minutes. So one inside workout or one inside workout, one outside workout. And they both have to be 45 minutes. Do that for 75 days straight with zero compromise. And I have failed that program so many times. I have completed it successfully twice. And I think that was honestly one of the biggest reasons how I ended up like, yeah, I'm going to apply to first one. It's because the first time I completed successfully was last year. And I was actually still selling. Yeah, 2021. I was selling in Phoenix, Arizona for Vivint while doing
It's
it.
so hot, dude. In the
Bro,
summer? Were you in the summer?
monsoon season, dog. Yeah, yeah. So
Oh, bro. I sold solar in Phoenix door to door in July. It's stupid, dude.
dude,
It's
20
stupid.
my last summers indoors were so stupid. So it's like a pandemic, and my team at Vivint was actually nicknamed Coast to Coast because we started in God, where did we start? Like Iowa, and then we ended up in like Pflugerville, Austin, Texas. We moved cities 8 different times because we kept getting kicked out by the authorities. Like, so we're living in
Yeah.
hotels the entire summer, the entire time. We get settled in a place, start our momentum in our turf, and we get kicked out because people were that hot. We kept going. Yeah, we just kept going to areas that were like, everyone was afraid, but like we just kept finding places that were like stupid afraid of COVID, and we moved 8
Even
different
in
times,
Texas.
dude. Yeah,
Wow.
well, I mean, Austin's pretty blue, but
Sure. Sure.
yeah, but
Y'all should have gone down to like southern Florida.
yeah, no shit,
Yes.
no
South
shit.
Rise again.
Jacksonville. That is funny. That is a ponytail. Right, I gotta write that down. That's no, I gotta.
Throw that on the chat, Amy, if
Yeah,
you can.
okay,
That's
okay. I'm gonna remember that one. I'm so glad you said that. That just sparked a memory in my brain. Um, so yeah, we moved 8 different times in 12 different cities, and 8 different times in 12 weeks, and the whole summer was 20 weeks. And my 2020, this is actually, and dude, I'm proud of myself on this. I'm not proud of this, but I'm proud of how I bounced back on.
Hello. Off schedule moment. Wanted to tell you about Southwestern Real Estate. They're 99% drama free. Only 99, not 99.9. So it's a bit spicy. Kind of like this episode. Anyway, they will learn you to kick ass at real estate. So make sure you guys click the link below. Get in touch with them. Okay, back to work. Bye.
This. It got bad enough where I left. I was an early champion my 2020 season. I was like, dude,
Let's
I'm out.
go.
So like 13 weeks, and I was like, dude, can't do it. And I left. And I left Vivint. I was like, this has been hell. Like moving that much, like just not knowing if we're gonna be if I should get settled, if we're gonna be here. Yeah, that feels good to read that on the screen. Great. It says early champion, someone who didn't finish the summer. Yeah, it was my 6th summer. Give me a break. Come on. So yeah, I didn't finish the summer, and I went home, and God damn it, that's not me. Can't do it. And I re-signed back up. I was like, no fucking way am I leaving anything like that. Can't do it. Fuck. Yeah, we're at 13 on the F counter. And I was like, there's no way I can do that. I'm not going to leave something like that. So I went back to Vivint, and beat my best summer in 2021 in Phoenix, Arizona. And
Bro, that's brutal.
yep. The hottest week was in June, and it was 100. Dude, it was bad. We had rookies dropping left and right in Phoenix. It was so bad.
We can't do this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Um, it was like 118, 120 degrees the entire
Yeah.
week, and
Yeah.
it's a little different
Yep.
in other industries. I'm sure you've had, Nick with past. I don't know if you've had any other alarm guys, but we don't have each all have our own counties in different door to door industries. Most of the time, it's car groups, so it's like
Yeah.
you
You
have
get dropped off.
Yep.
Go. Yeah.
get dropped off. There will be, a neighborhood. We dissect it into 5 parts, drop those fuckers off, and then you go and work your area. You pick them up at the end of the day, and then you all go back to the apartments together. That's how a lot of industries work. That's roofing,
Yeah.
solar,
So, yep.
pest,
Yep.
and alarms.
Windows. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Windows. Yep.
So I was selling in Phoenix and I run into some window guys and that's what they were doing. And they just got dropped off. No, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 120 degrees. I Googled, I'm like, dude, this has got to be like Middle East heat. So I Googled hottest place in the earth today, July. I think it was like, I don't know when I went. It was like July 12th or something. And literally it was like Tempe, Arizona. And I'm
Mesa,
like,
Arizona.
I stole the tape.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it was the hottest fucking place in the world. The craziest. And what was funny too is earlier in Nebraska that year, there was like that polar vortex that went through Lincoln. And
Uh-huh.
it was like for the couple days, it was the coldest place on earth that same year for like 2 days. And I'm like, in the same year, I have witnessed the coldest place on earth and the hottest place on earth in the same like 6 month span.
It's good.
I don't know how.
It's good
Like,
for the,
how
it's
is this
good for the
possible?
story. Yeah, it's good for the story. We like to hear that. That's
It's
something
so hot, dude.
that's something that you'll be able to tell the grandkids when they'll be like, whatever, grandpa, go to bed, like, I'm trying to play my hologram here, something like that.
I'm playing my VR, dude.
Yeah. So Phoenix, I don't even know where I was going with that. What were we just talking
I'm
about?
talking about something about TikTok, and then you quit, and then you went back to
And then I went
Vivid.
back, and then I came back, and I
Door to
finished
door.
finished strong. Yeah, door to door. Oh yeah, so I think I was just emphasizing how hot it was. So I was a car group
It's so
driver, which was good. I was doing well, so they let me drive, and I felt so bad every day, dude, because I had these 4 guys in my car, and I would drop them off in their area. And I'm like, just see you later, and I just know
don't die.
full well that 2 of them are gonna have a heat stroke.
It's
Um,
bad, dude.
yeah,
It's bad.
so bad. But dude, it was so brutal. I remember that week specifically. I would work a street, and this is how I was doing. I was like street southwesterning it. Honestly, I'd crank the AC in the car, and then I'd get out. I'd like work the doors around it. I'd get back in the car because I had to cool off. If I didn't get inside a house, I like had to cool off. And the entire time I was just like, dude, I just dropped off 4 guys, and they're just out there. And I was like, dude,
Yeah.
yeah, I just felt so bad.
I got dropped off, and they're like, "We'll see you in 12 hours," and I'm like, "Shit." Well, we actually sold in we did it like in 4 hour shifts because you can't just be out there all day. It literally you will die. Like you cannot
Yeah.
do that. Like unless you get like a lot of people giving you water or you're hanging out at gas stations. I don't care what you say.
Mhm.
It's just too hot. It's too
Yeah.
fucking hot. And people, the
It's a
hard part about
brutal
selling in
market.
Phoenix, yeah, the hard part about selling in Phoenix is they care about their AC. And so like people don't even open the door all the way, even the ones that are kind of interested. They'll like half ajar it so the air doesn't come out because it just will leave the house so fast because it's such a difference. And so you're like, hey, can I help you? Even the interested ones. You know, how, like when selling books, you'd have the interested moms and they'd like come out and like, well, how you doing? You want some water? And she's like,
Yeah.
interested. And you're like, she's hot. She's interested. Even people like that would be like, it's just like peeking through the door. It was brutal.
Yeah,
Brutal.
it was. I'm really glad it was like my last summer knocking in Phoenix, because it was just one because like it was a total redemption year, and I was like, dude, I just gotta come back and finish strong. And I did. That felt good. And then also just because it was such an extreme, it's the most extreme environment in America I think I could have asked for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like blazing hot heat, Phoenix, Arizona for 4 months.
Dude, Amy just sent me a text that I sent her of that. It was June 16th when I was out there.
Of last
It was
year.
yeah, it was 120
Bro,
degrees.
that's the week. That's the exact week I was talking about.
We were selling in the same town at the same
Yeah,
time. Dude. It
dude,
was
that's
fucking
crazy, bro.
awful, dude. It was awful.
I can tell you, I was in Peoria, Arizona. Like,
I was in Mesa.
I lived in Mesa.
And then they sent me to Guadalupe to go sell because it was like the ghetto, but it was all Hispanic people, and I was
Uh-huh.
selling in Spanish. And it was like I could hear gunshots while I was knocking on doors, and it was 120 degrees outside. It was brutal.
You're like, I've made decisions that have led me to this point.
This is so ghetto,
Here
bro.
I
I was
am.
walking through the fucking streets of Guadalupe, Arizona. And these two, like the street pit bulls, because when you go through the ghetto, there's like pit bulls and they're the street dogs, and so they kind of like watch the whole neighborhood. And they were like, I was walking and I look up and there's these two like 50 to 60 pound just muscle pits, and they're just looking at me, and they're like, and their tails not wagging, and there's people hanging out on the front porch, and they're like, you should probably stop walking real quick. And I just stopped, and they're like, just chill for a second. And I just looked at them, and I remember in Southwestern that dogology, right? They teach you don't eye contact, and don't you fucking look away, because they're not good. And I just kept eye contact, and then they both looked away, and I'm like, okay. So I kept walking. But then, even this is the scariest part, wasn't when they were in front of me. It was when I went past them, and I'm like, okay. Now they're behind me, and I'm just like kind of keeping an eye out. I'm like, I don't have a backpack with me. I got nothing. I'm just like selling solar. So I'm just walking. I'm like, oh God, there's two 50-pound pit bulls, street dogs, just 10 feet behind me. Just and then once we got past, like you could tell, like once we got past the end of the street, they just stopped and they turned around, and that's why I was like, what the fuck am I doing out here, man? It's crazy.
Like, I've made decisions that have led me exactly to this point. You just gotta take it. You're just taking account. You're taking inventory of all your choices, and you're like, huh, that's interesting. Yeah, this is my fault.
Well, you're probably wondering how I ended up here.
This is my fault, isn't it? I think it is.
Oh man. Bro, let's jump into some Southwestern shit. This has been. Are you having a blast? Are you having fun?
My face is definitely gonna hurt tomorrow. I'm living through the last 3 years. This is another cathartic experience. Just going through last kind of the final chapter of me knocking doors. It's just really good. Yeah.
Shared trauma, buddy.
Shared
trauma.
Nothing. Yeah, that's how healthy relationships are built and form, on the bridge of shared trauma. That's what I've always said. I've always said that. That's always been a saying of mine.
Yeah. Brutal, bro. All right. So let's wind the clocks back to 2015. Shane Hertig, you heard about this damn thing. So here's a story about how Mitch Johnson got started selling books.
I love this story so much. Yeah. So, how do I usually start this one? I was a shithead in high school. I was pretty, me, dude. I loved partying in high school. Loved it, and I was just like the most undisciplined kid, just kind of a rebel without a cause kind of thing. And went into college, didn't really know what I wanted to do. Didn't even really know like what I wanted. I was undeclared my freshman year. And I almost flunked out my freshman year in college. Like, and like I'm a sharp kid. Like there was no reason for me to be doing that besides the fact I felt like no sense of purpose in my life. And I remember I went back, and I also developed like a hankering for like a pretty hefty sense of alcoholism probably during my freshman year of college, as like a lot of people do. But it went too far. Like I was just partying too much. And I went back to Grand Island freshman year summer, and this is the point that I'm getting to, is like this is the time where I was like, okay, like personal development journey started, like new Mitch begins kind of thing. My girlfriend at the time and I were driving. I was driving actually, and I got pulled over, and I was like 4 blocks away from my parents' house, and I'd been dabbling in substances that night in terms of like weed and alcohol, right? And they did a sobriety test, all that. I thought I was good to go. I was not good to go. I had a case of alcohol in the back too. They found that pretty fast. So I was like, MIP. It's like racking up. It's like DUI, MIP. It was not good. And
those are the extras.
No,
you want MVP, LOL, right? Not DUI, MIP.
And so they go back to the cruiser. They come back to the car, and they ask me to step out. And they're like, "You have a warrant for your arrest." I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, you have a warrant for your arrest in Lincoln." And what had happened is I had an MIP my freshman year, like I said, shithead. And I did nothing with it. Didn't show up to court, didn't pay the fine, didn't do community service, nothing. Just like fucked it. Just didn't do anything. So I had a warrant, and they put me in the cruiser, and they're gonna take my ass to Lincoln that night or that early morning, and to like jail, right? Because I blew a court date. And I was in a holding cell in Grand Island, Nebraska, Hall County. And no, I'm skipping a step here. This is a really an emotional one. I was in the cruiser. My girlfriend at the time was on the ground, sitting next to the car, and I watched this go away. And that was on my right, and then on the left, I watched us pass my parents' house, and then I went down the street I grew up on to Hall County Court, and they booked me, put me in an orange jumpsuit. Um, put Gave me a pair of orange Crocs, and then opened the holding cell for me, and it was just a cement slab. And I was there. I laid down for a while, just kind of thinking like, dude, what the fuck? And I went to the mirror, and in these holding cells for people have been like goody two shoes their whole life and haven't made mistakes, like I have. They it's usually like a metal mirror, but you can still like kind of see yourself. And I remember I was always kind of a joyous guy, class clown, things like that. And I remember looking at myself, and there was like no spark in my eye at all, like none. And I was just numb to like the entire experience. I wouldn't even say I was like disappointed in myself. And I was like, and that was the thing that scared me the most, is just like how indifferent I was to where I was at currently. And I was 19 at the time, and I made a decision. I was like, dude, I gotta change my life. And I knew one success principle, and I don't even know where I had heard it, to be honest with you. But it's like, you are the average of the five people you spend the most time with. And so I wrote down a short list of people um, that um, that I knew that I graduated with, that were doing well, or and people, that I needed something to like point myself in a better direction. And one of the people I wrote down, which was the most successful person to me on that list, was Danny. And Danny was selling door to door in New York the summer prior, or that summer actually. And so I went back to school because I got picked up like August 16th, 2014. I think literally that's the day. I can still remember it, because it's like that's when the lights came on, you know. And I uh, I signed up for the internship later that semester or the following semester, one of those two, and went through the process, got selected, and it was interesting, right? Because it's like I really wanted to go to New York. New York sounded cool, and the reason why I wanted to do this program, because I knew I needed to get out of Grand Island. And it's not even because Grand Island's like a bad place. There's opportunity for people that work hard in Grand Island, like blue collar things like that. It was mainly because I was a danger to myself, and then also the people I was around. Like I was the instigator to a lot of trouble, and I was like, man, I'm not only am I harmful to myself, but I'm harmful to these people around me, and like I need to remove myself. I need to kick my own ass essentially. And then the door to door thing appealed to me that much because I was like, something that hard. I don't. I wanted to see if I could do it. Like I wanted to see
Yeah.
if there was actually something inside of me that was um, like tough and persistent and just gritty, or if I was just completely full of shit, you know. And and then it was basically those two ingredients. I was like, I need to leave, and I need to go kick my own ass. So in a
Yeah.
weird way, I looked at it like basic training, like I was signing
It
up for
is.
the
I mean,
yeah.
it kind of is a little bit. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
want to dishonor the people that go
No,
and serve our country,
no,
but
yeah,
in its own way, it's different. It's tough like that. How did you? But how did? Because you ended with Shane. So because I remember
yeah.
thinking that
That's
when you were going to sell books, I was like, well, how the hell did Danny and I work together? By the way, people who listen, Danny's my brother. He's been on the show before, but to somebody listening that might not know, that's yeah, that's
yeah. So I think it was like I got the name I got. How was it? I filled out a form for Elena, and then Elena,
Elena
yeah,
Arndt.
and then
Yes.
Elena Art, and then
And were you
Elena.
in class or something, or like how did you
No,
get the form?
it
Like
was
how did
career fair. Like I sought out,
you
I
were at a
sought out
career
Southwestern
fair?
at yeah, I sought out
At a career
Southwestern at a
fair.
career fair, and then Elena's squad got transferred to Shane, and so I got adopted by Shane. And it was interesting because I really wanted to go to New York, and this is where I found faith too, which is a cool story too. My testimony essentially, so it's like testimony for my first summer. Um, yeah, we got split. New York, Arkansas. Didn't want to go to Arkansas. I was on Arkansas, so I went. To, yeah, that's how it works, baby. Went to Arkansas, and yeah, had a great summer. First week had 13 customers, probably like I don't even know, like a pitiful amount of units, but discovered And it's funny because like for years out, I think for like a few years after, they showed my chart as like the epitome of like
Yes.
of a rookie summer
Yes.
because it was like
Yeah.
not good and then
Then it got better. After
yeah,
week 3, look how Mitch did. And then it's
yeah,
they use like the staple of like if you get off to an okay start and then you get better in the middle and then the best at the end. That's like
mhm,
they take that canvassing chart to show like other first years to go, this is typically what the summer looks like. And that's usually the route for most people. It's you suck, then you're bad, then you're okay, then you're good, then you're great. And
yeah.
that's what you followed.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's exactly what I followed, and I finished strong, and I ended up like I want to say number 8 rookie
So
that year.
I
So,
think it was something like that. That was the summer I didn't sell. I skipped that summer, but we had the conversation over the phone
dude,
of that summer.
get me started on that conversation because I'm a little rusty on that. But tell me,
Oh man, I I okay. I was what happened that day? It was a Sunday meeting, and I think I got a call from Shane, and
mm,
he's like, "Hey man, I know you know Mitch because he's from Grand Island. I know you guys known each other, and he just kind of needs he needs to learn how to bust loose. So I'm gonna have him call you to do a PC Sunday because I just feel like and I was still doing this for Danny. And one thing I mean, there's a lot of things in Southwestern that I could have been better at, but one thing I think I did well was the PCs, like to just really sit people down and just be like, dude,
I
what the
agree.
fuck is going on with you, right?
Yeah,
Um, and so and so I remember you called me and I was like, all right, man, what's up? Like, what's going on? Like, what, and I remember how you like to be coached too, as well. I think
mm,
that was a big deal. But then we just had a heart to heart about like what you needed to do and how it wasn't really about books. It was more about like who you were becoming. I don't know if that rings a bell or whatever, but that was
I,
kind of the
I
conversation that we
don't
had.
see. I'm trying to remember specifically what you said, and I don't. And it's funny. It's like there's that Maya Angelou quote. It's like people don't remember what you say. I might be misquoting there. Sorry.
I
Um,
think I think I
but
think I said this to you.
I remember how it made me feel, right? And I think literally after that, I did start in fact to bust loose. Like I
Yeah,
was halfway
you
through the summer.
cranked. Yeah,
Yeah,
you cranked after that. It was like week 5, and I think I remember I said something like this to you because I used to do this with Danny in the training, and I think it was what you needed to hear. But I was like, man, because you were telling me about like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, and I'm like, bro, it just kind of sounds like you're making it about you,
mm.
and you're too scared to serve other people because, and this is important to like, I should probably
Oh,
disclose this
I
here.
think I remember. Dude,
It's
I think
important.
you said something
It's
along the lines of it's about the person on the other side of the door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because what happened was, here's the thing: Southwestern, we sold books, right? Some people maybe use them, but every once in a while, and this is something that over 160 episodes, you're in 160. We all have one, two, sometimes even more, several stories where the parents needed what you were selling. The kids really did use them, and it really did help that family
Mm,
do better in school or just feel more confident about education, which is a big deal to give someone when they need it, right? Sometimes you were the answer to their prayers, and it does happen that way for them. And so I think what I said to you was like, hey man, look, it's really selfish of you to be scared to go knock on a door because you're scared they're going to tell you no, because you have no idea if the person on the other side of the door is the family that needed you. And you have
mm,
no right to make that choice for them. That's really, really fucking selfish of you. And you should have never come out to the book field if that's what you were going to be like.
mm.
I said something like that to you, I think. And I remember you were like on the other side, just kind of talking about, you know, that perspective and like what you thought. And so I remember something like that. Is it just because I did that training one other time for Danny, and he needed to hear that too. But what I do remember, I don't know if that's exactly what I said, but what I do remember is afterwards, I remember when we hung up, I was like, he's gonna have a good week.
Yeah, yeah, that's you're like I just kicked so much ass on that call.
But it
That
wasn't about me. It was
No,
just more
I
about
know.
just like a change of
Fucking with you.
perspective. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
you because now that you say it, I do remember you say something along the lines of it's not about me, it's about the person that's on the other side of the door. And I have no idea what's going on the other side of that door. It doesn't matter. It's about them, and it's like um that concept alone is like stuck with me. It's like it's hard to be nervous when your heart is on service. It's like if you genuinely care.
Right.
Right. And I tell people that at first one all the time too. They're like, how'd you do door to door for so long? I'm like, it's not because I'm slick as snot, anything like that. It's not I'm definitely not the sharpest tool in the shed, but it's like I just really gave a shit. Yeah, I just cared. And
Yeah.
people could feel that. People they can
And that
feel that.
Yeah,
Mm.
and that applies to the people that you meet on the street. I mean, sometimes, and I forget. It's the people. Maybe there's someone driving or someone at the other side of the counter where I'm ordering or something, and they're just like rude, and I'm like, oh wow, this is terrible service. But then on the other, I'm like, man, like, what if this guy just
Yeah, and you just
got
play
broke,
this in
just got dumped?
hypothetical.
Like,
Yeah,
how would I react if I got dumped, right?
right.
Or if maybe she just found out her kids failing out of school, or her kids in jail, like, or whatever,
Yeah,
like, and that's hard to be on a parent. Or maybe they found out someone's got cancer, and then like, the way I would do that training was I would say, like, imagine the other side of the door. You're a mom, you have 2 kids, one of them's
mm,
crying, that they have a headache, they have a toothache. You're over here, and you got a phone call, and your dad has cancer.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, knock, knock, knock. Hello, I'm Mitch Johnson, the bookman. Would you blame her for blowing you off the fucking
Mm.
porch? No.
No,
Of course I would
not
too.
at
Like, get
all.
the fuck out of here, dude. Like, so, that's kind of the mentality that you have to have in life. I feel like with people is just like, hey, I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I don't think it's personal. And
Yeah,
if I take it personally, it's kind of on me,
yeah.
because you don't know me. So why would you treat me this way? It's probably something going on with you. And I hope whatever the hell that is, that
I've
hopefully
found,
resolves itself.
yeah, I think one of the biggest gifts that Southwestern gives people is and it's not talked about enough, but it's like a giant reservoir of grace. Giant,
Yeah.
you know. Because and I'm not dogging on the people I work with at all. I work with a lot of young 20 somethings, right? And so it's like through Southwestern, through Vivint, I've had the opportunity to like build that reservoir of grace, and it's like it takes it takes a lot to get me pissed. It takes a lot for me to be annoyed with someone, even, or frustrated with someone, even. And that's all door to door, right? It's because I understand the concept. We've all heard it 100 times. Hurt people, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, and it's just like humans are humans, and I think about that a lot. It's like humans are humans, it's like they get annoyed, they're distracted.
Yeah.
It's like it's just giant reservoirs of grace, like just completely understanding of like, okay, it's just a human having a human moment. Like, why would I take it personal? You know,
Yeah.
and that frees up so much energy to produce in your own life. That's what I have found.
Yeah.
Is like if like you just kind of let people be themselves and you don't really judge them for it or like hold it against them, um, it just frees up so much energy for you to create change in your own life. Whereas someone else who hasn't worked on that skill set of perspective or grace, they'd fester on that thing for 2 hours, you know, about that
Yeah.
comment that their coworker said, or just petty stuff, that's so I actually that's funny. I had a coworker. He gave me this line the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna keep that for sure. Um, he he's like, I'm actually a huge fan of petty bullshit, and then he said it to me exactly like that, dude. It made me laugh so hard. But yeah, a lot of people. I'm not kidding. A lot of people, and you know this, a lot of people are fucking obsessed with petty bullshit, and they just let it take
Yeah.
over their entire day. And it's like, if you're a book man, if you're a book girl, man, you're learning that skill to not let that stuff even come close to you. You can just,
Yeah.
I will laugh at the world, right? You just
That's
smile.
right, buddy.
You're like everything. This is funny. Where's the humor in this? It's like this.
Yeah.
Everything can be funny.
The universe is funny.
Yeah.
The universe is funny.
It's one of it's one of the few constants. It's like humor.
Yeah.
Like humor and paradox. There's a few. Humor is definitely, everything can be funny if you look at it. What's the
Yeah.
thing? It's like comedy, or it's either a great tragedy or a great comedy, like
Yeah.
life is.
But tragedy plus time equals comedy is the idea. So it's like, if something tragic happens, if you just give it enough time, it'll become funny.
Yeah,
Sometimes it needs centuries, right? Like the
dude.
Holocaust.
The Queen would have
But
loved
like,
that quote.
who?
The Queen would have loved that quote.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right.
Because she
Yeah,
just passed
exactly
away.
right.
Not funny.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, no.
Okay.
I thought you said Quinn, and I was like, "Who's
No,
Quinn?"
dude, the
Oh, yeah,
Queen, man.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Her Majesty would have loved that quote.
yeah, yeah.
I'm glad
Everything's funny to her. She thinks everything's funny. Shit, she's so. Oh man, true story. Oh man, dude, so great. So let's walk through some of these summers and maybe some of the highlights, and then we can start moving into some ponytails. I mean, there's a ton of stories, right? So, but I know we have two big ones, which is going to be your poop story, and then we have the South will rise again, which is I need those two stories for
Oh
sure.
my
So I just want
God.
to make sure I give
God,
time to everything else
bro,
as
no.
well.
Okay, I gotta type this one in. He's gonna fucking hate me that I'm gonna share this one, but we need to do it. All right. We're gonna save that one too.
Type in a
Okay.
little bit of the subject too, because you're gonna forget what you meant by that.
Okay. Yeah. Go on.
For people who don't know, we have a private chat that we kind of keep notes on, just in case we need to like keep track of something or whatever. So, um, dude. Oh yeah, here we go. Maybe
That's
don't share his name and just say it's Mort, but I know who you're talking about, which would be funny to me.
okay.
But
Cool. More.
if you would hate you for saying it publicly,
Yeah. No.
then
No.
maybe
No. No. Fair enough.
maybe just.
So
But
you
yeah,
want to just roll through some of these summers?
yeah. Give me some highlights as you go through second summer, third summer, fourth summer,
Okay.
and then why you left Southwestern. I guess would be probably.
Oh yeah, and then we can kind of go into Freddy's too, because that was like a shining moment for
Yeah,
me. So
yeah.
because I
Well, let's start
fucking
there. Let's start there. Let's
cool.
start.
Let's
Let's
start
start
in the
there.
Freddy's. That was a cool experience. So like ever since I saw Q do the Freddy's, I think was my first Freddy's, which is my B contract year. I was like, dude, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. So I set a goal, and it was on my vision board for a few years. I was like, I'm gonna fucking do the Freddy's, and I'm gonna host it. And there's always a female host and a male host for the listeners that are listening to it. And it's essentially like the book Oscars, right? Um, and
Right.
Q killed it, and just like this spectacular entrance, all that kind of stuff. And so my going into my what would have been my fifth summer, I made a push for it, and I was just like, dude, I learned the skill. The previous summer, one of the biggest things I pulled away from my C contract year, well, no, my D contract year, was asking for what you want, like every time, just asking
Yeah.
for what you want.
Worst I'll tell you is no.
Yep, and but like tenaciously asking for what you want, and so I did that, and I and to be honest, there's like no reason why I like like Q was a 10,000 unit producer. Like all these people that had hosted the Freddy's had way more units than I did. But I wanted it, and I had a plan.
But you had the unit.
Yeah, but I had the unit, just
So
laid it out. And what did I even do? Okay, so the first thing I did, this is just a fun story, and I think this is actually applicable to a lot of things for people that are either trying to find a new career or just like create. I am a huge believer in audacity. That's the point I'm trying to get. And what I did was I did an audacious campaign to secure this spot. The first thing I did was make a fake resume. I found out who the key persons were that actually made the decision on who hosted the Freddy's. Identified them, made a fake resume about why I would be the best candidate, and it was
shit.
intricate all the way down to references you and Brandon Q, and you were on there because you're that was you uh, because you guys were both doing stand up at the time. So
Right.
like as a vouch of comedic favor, I guess. And then Q because he'd hosted in the past. One of the points, for example, was like I just got my first Tom James suit, so I'm gonna be looking spiffy kind of thing. Sent that to them, got that to them, put it on their desk, and I feel like I did something else. Um, I think it was like a gift. It was like a wood engrave because I was learning how to use a laser cutter at the University of Nebraska, and like I gave like a wood engraved gift um, to them, but I forgot what it said, but it was something really applicable to the book field
With
and like
with all this
funny.
manure, there's gonna be a pony somewhere.
It was something I don't know. I forgot what it was, but I was walking into Target and I got a call and it was Dan. And Dan was like, Mitch, that was the Fridays. And I was like, yes. So I started like obsessively preparing for this thing. And it was one of the most fun nights of my entire life. It really was. It was just a blast, just having fun with, 400 people designing the skits, the comedy routines. We had a lot of fun. I think we really put on a good show for people. And it was interesting because, and I want to use this as as a teaching point too. Um, that we like identity our identities who we think we are is fluid 100%, and I that's like ingrained in me as a core belief, is that like if you want to change into someone you can do it like that,
Yeah.
well, it's a process, but you can make the decision and then start working towards it. Like when I was a kid, in fifth grade there's this thing called C camp, and
I
one of the
remember C
class
camp.
yeah bro, one of the classes was being um well, you could campaign to be like the president of C Camp, and you had to make a video, and you had to get in front of the class, in front of a camera, and record a campaign video. And I, dude, this is like fourth grade, and I every time I get up there, I'd start talking to the camera, I'd start fucking crying. I was in fourth grade. You know how embarrassing that was. Um, and yeah, right. I was like, and I was like, dude, this video exists somewhere, which is unfortunate. I hope
Where
they
is
just get it.
that?
Yeah, right. Just
I want to find that video and throw it in there. Just I'll
my
cut it. I'll
name's
splice it into this
my
video.
name
I
is Mitch
swear.
Johnson. Give me your
I,
vote.
this is the
Just
part
a
that I can't
crying,
relate to because I love public speaking.
bro.
That's why I did stand
I
up. And
hated
that's how
it.
you met
I
me. That's how you
hated
met
it.
me.
It is how I met you. For yeah, because Andreas used to do really really awesome seminars, and he came to Bar Middle School. That's the first time I saw him speak.
That was a
That's the first time
funny
I saw him
talk.
ever, which was awesome.
That was a funny conversation.
Middle
So
school.
you were crying.
Dude, I was crying. I was bawling, and
Oh,
so I
need to
hated
find that
public
video.
speaking. I fucking hated it. And then years later,
Love it.
hosting in front of CEO heads of the sister companies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just like
Big
that.
rich people.
Yeah, and that's kind of been a theme in my life. Honestly, is like these
Journey,
like
bro.
childhood fears, like overcoming them in a big way. And yeah, that's like
Monster, dude.
same thing with like flying. I hated flying, and so the second time I got on a plane, I went skydiving. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's really, dude. This, and I want to bring this up because
Overcompensate.
I'm fucking terrified of this weekend, but I'm going to say it anyway. Yeah, overcompensating for sure. This weekend, damn it, this weekend we have an event at First Horn called Fall Fest. It's like one of the three major events that happens every year. There's Summer Smash, Fall Fest, and then the awards banquet. And this is Fall Fest, and it's held on a farm property, and there's a rodeo, and I'm riding a fucking bull this weekend. Bro, I'm so scared, dude.
Well, I'm glad we got to get Rick. Yo, let's get off schedule one last time. Go watch a movie, or maybe you should figure out how to work at EnLight.Energy. Alex Black is crushing it down there, and a former DSM, Julio Hernandez, are both running this company. And man, they are cranking 10 people on their team and growing. It's enough that Alex only has to sell like one thing every other week and make over 6 figures. So if you want to learn more about that and maybe help change the planet, click on the link below. Record this story,
dude. You son of a! I just yelled into the mic. I'm sorry, bro. No, don't say that, dude.
I'll just put it at the end. At the end, I'll put in remembrance. Well, you know, tragedy and comedy, but for me, it's been enough time to make that joke.
No, there's not enough time in it, dude. It's been on my bucket list. I know I want to do it. I know I'm afraid to do it, and that's kind of why I'm doing it. And I think that's kind of, dude. I don't know. Action cures fear, right?
You're gonna crush it. You're gonna crush it.
I actually have a feeling that I might.
I feel bad for that bull.
Yeah, no, I don't know, but I'll do all right. But I'm excited for that. That's like, I haven't done anything like crazy like that in a while, like skydiving or bungee jumping. But that's a huge thing about Southwestern I love too. Is like there's a bunch of crazy fuckers in Southwestern,
dude. Yes,
that love doing crazy things, and I love it. I love it so much.
I've either told this story outside of the podcast, and I think I've told this story on this podcast about you and Danny and me, and we were at the Union, and you came up to us, and you're like, dude, and you're feeling down, and we're like, what the hell? What's up with you? You're like, dude, everybody's like, because you were telling your friends that you were going to run a half marathon. I don't know if you remember this conversation. We were at the Union.
Oh yeah,
we were
in front of the TV.
Island.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and you were telling your friends around the or like from Grand Island, and you're like, you're not Southwestern friends, like you were gonna run a half marathon. And I remember people were making fun of you, or like they're like, you've never ran that far in your life. Like, what are you, crazy? And then Danny and I just kind of looked at each other, and we looked back at you, and then back at each other. And then Danny goes, half.
Yeah, bro. And then
I go, half.
Is this when I did my full?
Yeah. And you go, and then he goes, half, and I go, half. Then you go, that's all we said. We just said half like 4 times, and you go,
yeah, I should do the full.
I'm gonna run a full marathon. And we're like, yeah,
do that. Yeah, do that.
And you went and did it.
Yeah. Like, on my birthday, it's my 21st birthday.
May 1st, right?
Yeah, May 1st. I ran my first full marathon. And dude, that's still the only besides the Bloomington. But I did that kind of by myself, I guess. But yeah, I just got done running my 3rd Lincoln Marathon this last year too.
Let's jam.
That's jam. I'm changing my goals now. So I'm actually gonna sideline endurance running for a while because I've been like 160 pounds soaking wet for like too long in my life, and I'm trying to bulk right now. Um,
Yeah.
but uh, but yeah, that is how that happened. Yeah, Danny like was a
That's
huge.
fun, dude.
You and Danny were a huge proponent for me starting to do that in the first place. I remember the first time I ran 3 miles and I was in so much pain. Um, yeah, gosh. See, but
I
that's what
remember,
I'm saying. There's a whole bunch of crazy people inside of Southwestern,
yeah,
and just opens you up to these experiences that you never would have had before. It's radical open mindedness to life experiences, and that has
and in
made
self
my life.
improvement.
Yeah,
Yes.
that has made my life so much more
Well,
vibrant than it ever
I
would have
was
been.
I was just talking to Will Metscher about that. I was like, why? Because we were talking about his like he sponsors us, and I was like, why us though? Like, why wouldn't you just fucking pay some other person to sponsor you? Like, why here? He goes, because the transparency of this podcast reminds people of the essence that made us who we were when we were selling books, which is you were surrounded by people who constantly were looking for self improvement mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and they were pushing each other to do so as well. So they were like,
Mhm.
even the slowest horse was running and trying to keep up with the pace of the fastest, and they were all running in the direction of self improvement. And that is something that you do. I mean, we shit on Southwestern here often, and but we also praise it. And the place where I would praise it is that it's something that they built. I don't know how in their
Yeah,
culture to push people to just be like, everybody here is going to be better, not for the sake of selling more books, but for the sake of being better people.
yeah,
And they did that, and it was such a cool part to be like, it's a cool environment to be a part of that. So yeah, that's when you and same thing happened for me. I would tell people I want to do this, and they were kind of looking at me and be like, why only that? Like, why not more? Why can't you
hmm
be bigger and better? Because what's stopping you? And you would be like, oh, you're right, I should do a full marathon or whatever the hell.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
cool. It's a cool part of that culture for sure.
Yeah, a huge part is just, I mean, there's been so many, and it's cool to see that it's still a part of me too. It's just like even though I've moved on from Southwestern, like being radically open minded to new life experiences has still continued to this day and for the rest of my life. Like has added a vibrancy to my life that would have not been there otherwise. How many people from Grand Island do you know have like done half the stuff you've done, Andres?
I mean, I don't know that I've done a ton, but
Dude,
you
you wrote a
know,
book. like that,
I did write a book.
you wrote a book, bro. Like,
I did write
yeah,
a
and
book.
you've
That
been
is
some
fun.
cool places, man. Yeah, like,
I have traveled. That's fun. Um,
yeah,
I mean, I think people. I wouldn't say what I've done, but I think the average person in Southwestern or that did even one some of our
yeah,
books, I think is not nearly close. Like the the story I'd love to tell with is Jesus Santos. One time after I left Southwestern, Jesus Santos, you remember Zeus,
yeah. I know
and
Zeus. Yeah,
he was telling me the story about. And this is gonna not be that interesting of a story to people listening who sold books because it was a story about how he pulls over. He gets home, or we were at a hotel. We were staying for a conference, and he goes, "Dude, had the craziest day." And I'm like, "What happened?" He goes, "Dude, the craziest day." I'm like, "What? Tell me what happened." He goes, "Okay, I was driving down these back roads in Kansas on the way here,
hmm
and I got flat tire,
yeah, right.
and then I had to go to this house where this guy fixed tires, and it was in the middle of nowhere, and then he fixed my tire, and then I made it here."
Yeah, it
And I was like,
sounds like Tuesday.
"But what? But then what happened?" And he goes, "No, that's it." And I'm like, "Oh, I thought you were like he tried to like seduce you or spike your drink and
Yeah,
like
he's like
hang you up."
he didn't try to stick anything in you. Like, you're like, come on,
No, no, that was
there
it. I'm
has to be
like, "Oh
more,
my gosh, that's day 3 of the
dude.
book
That's
field. All
yeah,
right, come on,
yeah.
and
It's pretty
and
mid,
I don't mean to
pretty mild.
belittle. Yeah, I don't mean to belittle his story because to him that was a big deal. But
hmm
that to give that illustration of like sometimes you just go experience life in the book field and you come back and things that used to be a big deal, you're just like, oh, it's just a flat tire.
Yeah,
Which you don't say that to sound cocky or arrogant, but it's just you just experience it, so then it's not a big deal anymore. Which
yeah,
then makes you want to go experience bigger things. So then things stop becoming a big deal, like riding a bull, skydiving, writing a book. Right? You're just like, yeah, I did that. So now what? Like, what's the
yeah,
next thing that people don't want to do that because they're scared? I'll do that so that I can know that I can do the next thing. And it just keep like kind of like a video game where you just keep building to the final boss, except the final boss is like dying.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Like, dude,
so that happens.
no,
We're gonna
that's
keep
actually
going.
that's a super good way to put it. It's like it's almost like this game of bigger and better in terms of like experiences. Um,
Yeah.
because like I went for marathons and like now I'm trying to add weight and I'm trying to add strength because I've been getting into and I'm 27. So this and I want to encourage people like there's never a wrong time to like add something new to your life. Because right now, like one of the major like side quests that I'm on right now is like I'm on a side quest to like earn belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I've been
Hell yeah.
really enjoying Jiu-Jitsu. And I was not a wrestler. Like I wrestled in middle school. I should have wrestled in high school. I didn't.
Great
And
program.
so yeah, I know, right? We went 4 years
Like
straight.
literally the
That's
best
yeah.
program in the country for
When
4 years
Andres
while you were there.
when
It's
Andres and
literally the
I were
best
in high
program.
school, we went four state championships in a row at the school we were at. So I
And then they competed and they were the number one ranked program in the country. Like
yeah,
when we
yeah,
say it was no better wrestling than that Gish, but literally
messed
that's the
up.
best
Yeah,
place
so
you
I
could go.
messed up. So missed the boat.
Yeah.
But I'm 27, started doing jujitsu. Friend got me into it. And I want to super emphasize that for people because I know people are similar age, even older. There's never a wrong time to pick up something new, like running in your first Ironman, running your first marathon, um, doing jujitsu, picking up an instrument, all these new things, new experiences. This is the stuff that makes a good life, like a full life. The only tattoo I have on my body is about the dash poem. And I do my best to live that, how you lived and loved and how you spent your dash. And I think about that a lot. And that's why I'm getting on the fucking bowl on Saturday. I don't want to.
Let's
When they
go.
asked me, they're like, "Do you want to get on a bowl?" I said no. I was like, "But I'm going to." And I was like, "Okay." And they're gonna give me a vet. So people, well, I guess it's gonna be October 16th, so it's gonna be after the fact. But yeah, they're getting me a puncture vest and a helmet, and I'm gonna be okay. I'm excited for it.
Do it, dude. You gotta have a good
Yep,
time.
it's gonna be a good time.
One thing I did recently, and I'll share this, and then we can go into maybe some ponytails. Unless you got more stuff, we could still talk about some summer stuff. But
Yeah,
I just know that
you know it's coming.
there's people who are tuning in right now who are like, I want to know. I know what story's
I know
coming,
it's
and I
story.
want this story.
Story.
Um,
The B
so
story.
what a story. One thing I did last year that was really like to me, I thought it was a big deal. Some people might be like, that's a no, but again, that's the thing. Is I jumped in I dove, it's sat in like a frozen lake. Like we had to cut
Yeah.
ice with a chainsaw and like submerged into a frozen lake for a minute. And it was like, whoa. And it's not that it was like crazy from a standpoint of like, well, I guess with my heart condition, it might have been a little dangerous, but like from
Yeah.
the standpoint of just something that's hard to do that you don't want to do. It's like taking a
Um,
cold shower. You're like, bro, it was crazy. It was such a crazy experience. And
hats off to you because I hate like cold therapy. Like there's an ice plunge at first form, and I don't go anywhere near it because it's just that's yeah, I don't know. Man, that's tough.
awesome.
And that must have been so much colder than the 55 degrees or whatever it was at first form. That's you stayed in there for a minute and a half?
It was like a minute. You're like, the idea is you stay there
Uh,
for a minute. And I'm like, fuck. And there's a video of it somewhere. I'm like, fuck.
oh
It's
yeah, just
crazy.
feel like
It's crazy.
death. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. All right. Well, hold on. All right. Are you ready for ponytails or do you got more stuff? Because we could talk
Oh
about more stuff.
man.
Because we got caught in the act, we got South will rise again, and we got the poo story, which I don't know if those are well done. I feel like that'll take a chunk
Take a chunk of time. Yeah.
or
I
two.
think that'll
Yeah.
get us to the finish line there. Um,
So let's
yeah.
start with caught in the act. South will rise again.
Cool. So last
Yeah.
summer.
And remember, it was caught in the act.
Okay,
Because
we got we got to
I
start.
know who we're talking about.
We got to start with South will rise again because it was my first. Well, not even my first. It was day -2, right? Um, I just get to Arkansas and we're knocking for houses, right, for hosting, because nothing's been set up.
to live in.
Naturally,
Yeah.
nothing's been set up. No, there's no leads. There's no prospects. Go to a neighborhood and knock, and so I did. And I think it was me and Michael Benson, dude. We were knocking for housing, and I was like leading. I was a little more confident than Michael, so I was leading the way and knock on the door, and this lady comes out, and she's like 6 out of 10 on open mindedness with us, so like interested enough for me to continue talking to her, and I'm like, whole pitch of yeah, we have, it's kind of like we're looking for families that have done foreign exchange in the past, or like just has a spare rent, for, whatever the pitch is. I could probably
Yeah.
get it if I
Spare bedroom. We're gonna be gone from
we're gonna be gone till
6
we wake
a.m.
up.
till 10
Not here to
p.m.
party.
Just looking
We're
at
here
places
to
later fast. Yeah.
make money for college so our parents don't have to. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And um, And this guy, old man, just like kind of like hobbles up, just like hobbles up behind her on, and then like is like peeks over her shoulder, right? And I'm like looking at her, and then I like look at him. I'm like looking at her, and then like looking at him, and he's like, "Hey," and I keep talking, and then he's like, "Hey," and like, and I just keep talking to the woman, and then finally he's like, "Hey, I have something to say," and she's like, "What, Dad?" And she gets out of the way completely, and like lets this guy like have the stage, and he looks me dead in the eye, and he's like, "The South shall rise again," and then he just turned around and fucked off, like he just disappeared into the living room, and hit. And Mom was just like, "I am so sorry about that." And me and Michael are dying because we just landed in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Keep in mind, all right. So
This
we,
dude's living in
dude,
1955.
this
He's
man was trying to tell me about Gettysburg. Okay, this man, this,
1855.
yeah,
This dude's living in before the company was started.
yeah, this man, yeah, this man was
South will
disappointed that
rise again.
dude, and yeah, that was my inaugural start to that's my inauguration to Arkansas.
Oh,
Yeah, so that
welcome to
was
the boat, Mitch.
welcome to the book field, right? And so I was like, oh, it's gonna be a great summer, and the so that was the first thing, and yeah,
Oh,
that was my first day on in the book field. It was knocking for housing and having a 90-year-old man in a small hat tell me that the South shall rise again, and
what a time.
what a time. Other funny stories, yeah, probably Caught in the Act. That's probably one of my favorite ones. um let's see, it was my last summer, and Mort, who I was living with at the time, um
More, we'll have to tell Mort that this story's out here, and he will know that it's
oh
about
my
him.
god, bro. We had a basement. We had a basement to ourselves, which was cool. And this basement had two beds, which was great. And there's a staircase leading down into a room. So it was like almost like a studio apartment basement. So it was one room, right? One room and a bathroom attached. Staircase leading down into it. Okay. Following along,
I'm
right?
with you.
Okay. And then, but it was a two-tiered basement. This might get confusing. Staircase going down to the first level of the basement. So it was like a split level. That's the word I'm looking for, is a split level. And then there's another staircase leading down into the second basement, which was our room. Okay. So ground floor, first basement, split level, second basement. Okay. If you look down this staircase, you would see Mort's bed. Okay. So Mort's bed was at the end of the second staircase. Um, the first basement, okay, the split level was like a living room area, right? So a lot of traffic, a lot of commonplace footsteps happen there, right? And then I came home from work one day, right? And my bed was on the opposite side. Okay, so you couldn't see it in the staircase, right? And it was probably only 10 steps, not a lot of staircase to go, right? I come in, kick off my shoes, smell absolutely terrible, because I got a bad case of athlete's foot every summer kind of deal. And welcome to the book field. Uh, go downstairs, pedal along, and I look on my bed, and Mort's looking me in the eye, and Mort has his hand in his pants, and he sits up real quick. I'm like,
And he's like,
Mort, what are you,
"What?"
Mort? I'm like, Mort, what are you doing? And he's like, I was like, Mort, were you just jerking it on my bed? He's like, bro, yeah, and
Week 11, man.
yeah, and yeah, and I was like, why are you on my bed? Because that was the thing. I wasn't concerned that he was jerking it. And I was like, it's natural, he's a growing boy, and I was just concerned he was on my
It's
bed. I was
week
like, why'd you
11.
choose?
You haven't seen a real woman in.
I haven't felt the warm embrace of a woman in many moons. That's the energy of week 11, right?
Bro, I caught you in the act in my room. I don't know if you remember this story. Oh my god. Oh, well, that's a story for another time. I'll tell it to you
That's
after.
story for another time. And that is a story for another time. Okay.
I mean, I
Wow.
can tell it, but if you don't want me to
No,
tell it,
no story for another time. Let's go. Anyway, god damn it.
I just wanted to remind you that
Yeah,
karma is a bitch. All right.
karma is a bitch. Yeah. So it was the weirdest. It was one of the weirder moments I had looking my Mort in the eyes, and then having the realization that he's doing the deed. Not only is he doing the deed, but for some reason he's on my bed, and then he looks at me with
I want to get my
he looked at me like I was an asshole, and he's like, "Bro, you can see my bed from the staircase." And I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's a valid point. That's a good point, Mort. Um, but
wow.
the way he said it, like I was the asshole. I was like, yeah, no, that's fair. And then like he validated it. Like I like let it go after that. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Well, fair enough.
Do it in the shower like a
My
normal
bad.
guy. Do it in the shower like a normal bookman, all right?
Oh, what a good
Let,
time.
okay. And that
This is
was
the one.
caught in the act, and then the final
This is
B
the one.
story.
This
The B story.
I listen, man. We tell this story. I've told this story. Danny's told this story, but nobody tells this because this happened to you, bro. This cannot be anybody else to tell this story.
Drink it in.
Oh, this is the ponytail, and by far one of the best poop stories I think we'll ever hear on this show. We had Lee McCroskey in here who shared his flagpole story, which was
I listened to Lee's episode. Yeah, that was a good one.
That poop story was, I mean, but this is gonna live up to it. So hope I'm not overhyping it, but
there's
honestly,
there's a lot of hype, but we got it. So it was my first summer in Arkansas, and this is like this is like week 7 into it. I was actually getting pretty good. I was getting a lot of sit downs. And everyone knows that there's a few schedules, right? So you have your demo schedule, you have your wake up schedule, you got your eating schedule, and then you got your poop schedule. I think I'm missing another schedule in there, but it's all right. And let's just say my 5th schedule was off. Okay. So had a morning appointment, super excited. Didn't do my 5th schedule at the breakfast spot, and get to turf, and my morning appointment blew me off. Could you believe it? Crazy. And
wow.
like I didn't read the situation well the first time, and so I start knocking. I'm like, it's all good, we're cool, you know, gonna stay on schedule, not gonna leave my turf, and really got to poop, you know, and I just kept knocking, and you know, no, was not getting in a single house. And this is week 7. I was getting pretty good at sit downs at this point, you know. I'm doing like 12 a day, you know, at least. And it got to like, dude, it was late in the day. Like the hours were long at this point. I was struggling. It was like 10:30, 11. So we've been going at it for a few hours. And I got a turtle head poking out. Okay. Like yeah, it's dude, it ain't good. I'm waddling up the doors. We stopped running. We stopped running hours ago. We're in pain, you know.
You're like,
but we're decided. We have a decided.
And you're in the middle of nowhere. There's like no gas station. Like
no, I didn't even look it up, dude. I didn't look it up. I knew I wasn't going to. And we're in Arkansas, and I kept going down the street, and there's a street. There's just a straight shot. There's a cul-de-sac at the end, right? And like a moron rookie, you know, I started at the beginning of the cul-de-sac. When actually, if you're listening to this and you sell books, you start at the end of the cul-de-sac. Why? Because they drive that entire street every day, multiple times a day, and they know their neighbors. You don't start at the beginning of the cul-de-sac. And so I did that anyway, went all the way down. So like 16 houses to the end of this cul-de-sac. And at the end of this cul-de-sac, there's this long driveway. And I saw just the most beautiful sight I've ever seen in my entire life. I looked down this long driveway at the end of this cul-de-sac where a house is being built, and where construction happens, so do porta potties. And I saw my savior, my blue grace over there. And I'm like, dude, yes, we're on schedule. We're good. We're gonna make this thing. And I felt just so happy. Drove the Jeep down this long driveway to where this house is being built. I guess they weren't building it; they were doing the roof, I guess, but whatever. So there's construction crew, roofers, whatever is going on, and I looked at a guy, and I was like, can I use the bathroom? He like looked at me blankly, and I realized he did not speak English, and I was like, El baño, and he's like, oh, see, and he gave me the heads up, and I was like, all right, cool, give me a thumbs up, and I go to the bathroom, I'm in the porta potty, I'm doing my thing, I feel great. Confidence is high because I didn't break my schedule. I'm on point for demos. We have no sit downs, but we're feeling good because we're on schedule. I finished my deed, and I reached my hand. Okay, so I reached my hand under that little blue hood that porta potties have. I'm like feeling around, and I'm like trying to find the toilet paper, and I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. And I grab it, and I kind of like fuck with it. I'm like, this feels weird. This feels like it got rained on. And I grab it, and I like start tussling a little bit in my hand. I hear a snap, and I'm like, oh shit. And I like squeeze a little harder, and there's a crunch. I'm like, I have a good idea on what's in my hand at this point, but I don't want to look at it. I don't want to face the consequences quite yet. So I slowly lower it. I'm like, there's no fucking way he would have told me. There's no fucking way he would have told me to go into this porta potty if he knew this. And I lower my hand, and I'm just straight baseballing a wasp nest. It's just in my hand. I just have a wasp nest. I'm like, okay, so perhaps he didn't know. Perhaps my friend outside didn't lead me astray. He knew that it was dormant. There was no wasps in it. And sure enough, out of a couple of those cracks come a couple wasps. They just sit on top of it. At this point, I'm panicking. I've never been stung by a wasp. I don't know how it feels. And I and I'm like, I'm good. And then they start crawling on me, and I start freaking the fuck out. And I threw it down. My pants are out. I haven't wiped, and I start aggressively trying to punch these wasps. I don't know why my fight or flight reflex said I need to punch. So I'm like I'm hitting the side of this porta potty, trying to punch these wasps, and I'm not winning. I'm not winning the fight at all. I got stung twice. And I finally have like a good Homo sapien moment. I take my hat off. I baseball the first one, baseball the second one, punch the second one. And I sat down victorious. And in that moment, I laughed because I knew that was the funniest thing that was going to happen to me that entire summer. And I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I think I used a sock or something like that, or it was either that, or it was like there was a piece of toilet paper. It was a little bit farther to the right, so I had bad placement. But I finished up somehow, cleaned up, and I walked outside, and every single member of that construction crew had stopped what the fuck they were doing. They were just looking at the porta potty. And I crossed that whole street off, and I never went back. And that's that's the B story. Yeah, that's
these guys are like, what the fuck did
what
this guy eat?
Because they just hear fuck, fuck. Just like I'm having a meltdown in the middle of Arkansas in a porta potty.
Oh my god, dude!
To this day, that's one of the funniest things. To this day, it's one of the funniest things that has ever happened to me. You know, and I cherish that gift with all my heart. It doesn't perform well at the bar. There's not enough context. But man,
perfect for a ponytail story.
Perfect for a ponytail.
Bro, what a story! What a time!
2015 was a good year for porta potty stories. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my god, dude! Oh, what a good time, my brother. Oh man, well, I feel like we gotta close it with that. I mean, I feel like we've arrived here.
We've arrived to the B story. It feels good to have it documented because
dude, it's now it's on record. Now you
don't even
have to tell it. Just be like, hey, just go check out the last like 15 minutes of my fucking
episode 2, season 7, baby. Yep.
Oh, what a time. What a time, my guy. Well, shit, man. Well, we're gonna wrap it up here. Mitch, how was it? Did you have fun? Is it all right?
I like I said earlier, I've been grinning this entire time. Like this has been a very
face hurts.
Yeah, man. Just cathartic, therapeutic. Let's throw those two buzzwords out again. Just going back over my experience on the book field. And like I said, I rag on it a lot. Man, door to door is it was the best thing that's ever happened to me. If I end up being, if I end up doing the things I would like to do in life and achieving the things I'd like to achieve in my life, I owe it all to door to door. Like bar none. You know, I'm so grateful for it, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for all the people that I've met throughout the years in door to door, in Southwestern, especially in Vivint. The sales managers that poured into me, um, Danny, Aisha, uh, Taverdi, like everyone, like so many people have spent time just helping me develop my character, and I just love this community, and I'm forever grateful for it. And the experiences and the memories that I have, even the shitty ones that involve wasps. So
That's right. The
just
actual
grateful, man.
literal shitty from
Yeah,
from
grateful.
figurative shitty, like being in jail, to literal
Hmm.
shitty,
Hmm.
like being bit by wasps while you were shitting.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
What a good time, man. Well, man, thank you so much, everybody, for listening in. My name is Andres Gamboa. Make sure you guys check us out on Instagram, social media. We're all over the fucking place. Come find us. Make sure you come and subscribe YouTube and keep in touch for the next episode. We have some really cool ones coming up. Closing it up here, dude. Thank you so much, Mitch. Good luck. Thank you. If you guys want to get a hold of Mitch, go to Instagram. Mitchell Scott Johnson is how you want to get a hold of him. On that note, we'll close this out. Episode 160. Catch you guys in the next one, everybody. Bye.